All right, today we're getting into a topic that trips almost everyone up at some point, which is weight loss. There's so much information out there, a lot of conflicting information and bullshit information, and people preaching the best way to lose weight. But I think the problem isn't weight loss. That's usually the easy part. We have a weight maintenance problem, not a weight loss problem, because I feel a lot of people listening and a lot of people that you probably know have been able to lose weight. They end up dropping it, but usually in the wrong ways, and then therefore they end up gaining it back, likely and then some, and then kind of just being stuck in that perpetual cycle, losing weight, gaining weight. And so today we want to talk about not just how to lose weight, but the worst ways that people try to do it, the things that keep you stuck, frustrated, spinning your wheels, versus the best ways that actually create the results that you can keep. Because the truth is, most people don't fail because they aren't working hard enough. They fail because they're putting in effort into the wrong approach. And so, no matter how much willpower you throw at a broken strategy, it's never going to work long term.
And I think we need to define what we mean by worst, right? So we're not, a lot of people may hear what we tell them and they're like, oh, I lost weight doing that. And so we're not saying that it's not a worst way, like you can't lose weight doing that. A lot of these you can. The problem is kind of like you mentioned, it's not sustainable. And so a lot of people don't have as hard of a time or difficult time losing weight. It's keeping it off sustainably and moving forward with their journey. All right, so I found this interesting. So speaking of weight loss and weight gain, I saw this, I wouldn't say it was a study, but it was an interesting story about Google. And I guess I'm sure you've probably seen, a lot of people have seen like pictures or videos of Google's like headquarters, and like everything's just like totally different and super cool and everyone loves working there and type of thing. And so they were doing something, I guess, like in the cafeteria that they had. It was basically like they had like unlimited M&Ms, like unlimited sodas, like oversized plates, everything like that, basically just whatever you want type of thing. And there became like a little joke around the office where once you join Google, you will have the Google 15, meaning that it's like the college 15 type of thing. You'll gain like 15 pounds of fat like right away, right? And so they looked at it and they're like, well, we don't want our employees to be unhealthy, right? Because that obviously leads to a decrease in productivity. So they tested something called the nudge theory. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I didn't really know exactly what it was, but it's basically like a behavioral idea that helps people make better choices without actually removing the options. So I like that because it makes it so it's not like you're being restrictive. It just helps you kind of nudge you into making better decisions, right? So here are some of the changes they did. I thought this are pretty good. So the M&Ms before, I guess, were just out, in jars or whatever. You can grab whatever you want. So what they did was they moved the M&Ms to opaque containers, meaning that you could see them, but it's kind of like, clouded a little bit. Like it's not super clear to see the M&Ms. And then all the healthier snacks, they put in super clear jars and they put them at eye level, so it's much easier to see. And I think they've moved like the M&Ms like to a lower spot where you can't necessarily see it. So I know there's an old trick, like I guess at the supermarket, I guess companies will pay more for you to put for them to stock items like at eye level, right? Because you're going to better chance you're going to see that and grab that. So with water, they put it like right in front of with all the coolers, and the sodas were kind of pushed in the back, right, or behind or lower. And again, with like frosted glass, so you knew they were back there, but it wasn't as clear. And then they removed the larger plates and they put smaller plates. And they put this little sign that said something like, hey, bigger plates make people eat more, so we kind of replaced there. And then food was actually color coded. So if they felt that it was like a healthier option, then they've said green was kind of like eat freely. Like you can have as much as this as you want. Yellow was like, yeah, these aren't bad. Eat it in moderation. And then red was like, hey, look, these are not the best options in the world. We're going to leave it out here, but you probably want to enjoy that sparingly. And I guess like in 7 weeks, and I'm not sure exactly how they track this, but they consume like 3 million fewer calories.
Oh my gosh.
Water intake like jumped 50%, soda calories dropped, and they said no one complained. Like no one felt like they weren't getting what they had before. No one felt like they were being deprived or anything like that. And so I thought it was a good lesson because it's kind of like when we design our environment, that's going to help us to want to make healthy choices, or at least make healthy choices easier, more attractive, social, timely. All those like little nudges can definitely create like a massive, like a huge behavior change, whether it's at work or at your home or anywhere else. So I thought that was a really interesting little story.
Yeah, no, that's especially 3 million fewer calories in the 7 weeks. That's wild. And like you said, it's not restrictive. So I feel like we talk a lot about curating your environment to help set you up for success. And I feel like this is a prime example of like, you don't need to restrict, don't need to ban all these things. It's just little subtle changes, or even just not having stuff in your house, or like you said, putting it away from eye level or putting it in the back of the fridge. Little things like that make such a big difference. So I think it's a great takeaways that people can implement just in their day-to-day life, either at their office or at home, where they're tempted with snacks and stuff. If it's out, I feel like a lot of people go through this. Like, I think every office setting has snacks and just bullshit everywhere. One of my clients jokes it's a diabetes corner in his office because they always have shit out. So it's like, use this type of stuff to your advantage, because it clearly makes a massive difference.
It really does. And I like what they said, like make things that are healthier like more attractive and make things that are not as healthy unattractive, right?
Hmm.
So I just thought that was a cool story. So hopefully someone can take that away and say, oh yeah, you know what? Maybe I should try that at home or try it at work and see what happens.
Yeah, I think even the color of your plate too. I forget what it is. I think if there's more contrast, it makes you eat less. Have you seen that, or is that accurate?
I don't know, but I do know places like McDonald's, Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, like there's red and yellow in the colors for a reason. And there's actually a lot of really cool behavioral psychology behind the colors. And so I don't know them off the top of my head, but that'd be something if anyone wants to research that. It's really interesting. I've looked it up before, I just can't remember, but it's really interesting to see why they chose those specific colors. And yes, I think it does have to do with wanting to eat more or being more hungry or at least being more attractive to going to that place.
I know that type of stuff always fascinates me. I think anything psychology related is just it's interesting just to see how our minds work, even subconsciously when you aren't even aware of it, just having the colors or having the different size plates or where it's located, all that stuff. That's funny. I was actually talking to one of my friends today too. He works in sales and he was showing me his desk and how he set it up just kind of for that same psychology. Is like he has his like self-improvement books to show like, hey, this is the type of person I am. He has like a medal from a Spartan race. It's like, oh, I'm very disciplined. So he has like all these things that kind of paint a picture and show who he is. Or even just like the past sales that he did, he has them like all in a bucket. So I think that kind of like same but different, but I think it's so fascinating how, because it actually works. People see that stuff, people pick up on it.
It really does. I've always been fascinated by behavioral psychology. All right, and then I was going to tell you too. My sister was laughing at me because I sent her a text. I asked her if I said someone had given me a DoorDash gift certificate, and I was like, I've never used DoorDash, and she laughed. Like, what? You've never used DoorDash? And so I was just wondering, like, what was her favorite things to get, or like how she used it, because I think you can do more than just order fast food or whatever. And so she was laughing. He's like, I can't believe you've never used DoorDash before. So I was going to bring it up. Have you ever used DoorDash?
Nope.
No surprise. We may be the only two people, by the way, in the world that has not used DoorDash before.
Is it like Uber Eats?
I guess. I don't know. I've never used Uber Eats either. Have you used Uber Eats?
I have used Uber Eats. That's usually like if I'm traveling and I don't have a car and I want to get something, or sometimes like I never did it up until last year, and then one of my friends put me onto it because he would do it all the time. So I was like, oh, why would you order something? Like, I can just go and get it. It takes 10 minutes. Like, why would I pay extra? But then he did it. I was like, oh, it's kind of convenient. So I did it a few times, but I'm still like, it's very rare now. But I have Uber Eats a couple times, but that's about it.
I've never used that either. I think for me, like one, I mean, I don't love fast food in general, and I'll eat it every now and then, especially if I have to, and it's fine. But I think it's one if I don't eat it there, even if I go pick it up myself, like it's definitely not as warm. Like it just kind of cool. And most of the time, like one, well, I love to cook too, so it's like, well, I'd rather just make something very similar. But also, like when I go out to eat, I like the environment. Like I like to be able to sit down. I like to be able to not have to do any dishes. Have things brought to me, and just have just that kind of the atmosphere, and just being able to sit down and socialize and relax and just enjoy my meal. And so I've never just really had the need for that, but I'm going to use it. I just got to figure out like when the best time is.
Like, how do we do this?
I got to think it's the best way to use this.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. It's like if I'm gonna eat out, it's very rare, or it's after volleyball, and I'm just gonna go pick something up on the way home, or it's like I want to go have the experience at one of the nice restaurants downtown, so I'm actually gonna go and be in that environment. So I'm totally with you on that. I just feel like personally, I don't understand why people constantly like order stuff DoorDash and to their place. It just for me, it never resonated. But again, I guess if you just want to be chilling at home, it can be useful just to like have stuff delivered. So like I get my groceries delivered, so I guess kind of same concept there. So I don't know.
We already established that I'm the weirdo that likes grocery shopping, right?
No, there's a few other weirdos out there that agreed with you.
I mean, I love it. I love grocery shopping, but and and I was speaking of like picking things up. I was at Starbucks the other day, and I'm always amazed like how many people order their stuff online now, like mobile app, right? It's like they'll order it and then they come in there and grab it and walk out. And I don't know, does this save you that much time? I mean, just I kind of like that. I don't know why. I like going up to the person, saying hi, and telling them what they want, and waiting for a couple of minutes because usually not any longer, and then get my drink. I feel like it's going to be fresh. I don't know, like they're making it for me. Maybe someone's not going to take my drink, type of thing. But I was also noticing now everything. It doesn't matter where you go, Starbucks or wherever else, right? Like everything's pumpkin, right? We're back in that season now. They keep pushing it up. It's like now it'll probably be like August. They'll start pulling out the pumpkin stuff, but it's like pumpkin everything. What I was gonna ask you, are you like pumpkin, like team pumpkin all the way, or are you like, whatever, I can take it or leave it?
I do love me some pumpkin. I will say, I feel like I'm one of those, but I don't drink coffee, or so it's not like drinks or anything like that. Ooh, maybe I think I have pumpkin pie protein powder, so I may need to do some pumpkin creamies again.
There we go.
But yeah, no, I'm definitely a huge fan. That's funny because I walked into Trader Joe's the other day too, and everything it was just like a fall stuff. All the pumpkin was out. I'm like, oh, this is dangerous. I just needed some pineapple salsa, but we may walk out with some other pumpkin snacks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Trader Joe, they're pretty big about that too. I feel like everywhere you go, they like blow it out of the water.
Yeah, and I went to one of the coffee shops downtown the other, or it was a while ago, honestly. It's been up for like a month, and like everything is decorated for Halloween. It's like giant skeleton in the middle, like just everything. I was like, it is August. What's happening?
It's out of control. When we get closer to Christmas, we can talk about this as well. But how like everyone's like, oh yeah, it's Halloween. Let's put out the Christmas lights. Time. No, what are we doing? Hasn't even been like Thanksgiving yet.
I know. I feel like it just feels weirder in Florida too, because it still feels like summer. Like it basically is summer here still. So I'm like, oh, I guess it's fall. I guess Halloween is coming. Like I don't know. It's just weird because we don't have those seasons here.
All right. Well, you ready to get started? Let's talk about some of the, we'll say, we titled it worst ways. We'll say ways that are probably not the best way to lose weight and be able to keep it off and be sustainable. Then we'll talk about the best ways. Like we would think these are the ways that, hey, you do this, it's going to be sustainable and you're going to feel great. And we're not going to have to go back to that yo-yo diet type stuff and up and down. We're just going to hit the road running and we're going to be awesome the rest of our life.
Yeah. Our first one, our worst way, number one, is just extreme restriction. When people want to lose weight, the first thing they usually think is, I need to cut everything out. Gotta cut carbs, gotta cut sugar, gotta stop drinking, no more eating out. And the pain with that approach is it works in the short term, which is why people keep going back to it. You drop the water weight really fast. Usually people will see that immediate scale dropping because of the water weight. And then you feel like you're back in control. You feel like momentum's happening, but then life happens like it does. You have a kid's birthday, a work dinner, and suddenly that rigid plan doesn't fit. And the second you slip up, then people feel like they failed and they swing the other way. And that's kind of where that yo-yo starts.
Right. It's like you're just white knuckling through it all, right? It's like I'm super motivated and I'm going to do this and I'm taking out everything. And that like all or nothing approach never works. And it's your body's going to adapt, right? So the longer you undereat, the more your metabolism starts slowing down. And so your energy tanks, like you just don't have that energy throughout the day and your workouts suffer, you start getting cravings. And so you're kind of like fighting against yourself, right? And so a lot of busy parents, professionals will tell us, well, I'm eating less than ever and I'm still not losing weight. It's not necessarily that your body's messed up or there's something going on, right? It's just that the restriction has gotten to the point where like your body's like, okay, and like I'm starving. And so I need to like bring this metabolism way down. I need to stop burning so many calories and so I just need to make sure we survive. And so of course you're not going to lose weight, right? And you're not going to build muscle because that's the most expensive thing that your body can have. So it's definitely not going to do that. And so it's just not a very good approach in general. It's not a very sustainable approach.
Yeah, and it gets people into that all or nothing mentality because I've seen this from clients too. They come on and they're like, "All right, we got to get locked in. I'm cutting down and no more eating out. All these things." I'm like, "No, no, no," or like, "We're not doing that. Like, we have the right structure. We phase it out appropriately." Because also that's like it's not enjoyable. Like, do you really want to not have carbs? Do you really want to not be able to go out to eat and enjoy those things? So it doesn't need to be that all or nothing. We don't need to cut everything out. We just need to have the right structure and plan it out and build in a little.
All right, so the next one, and this is, I almost feel like this is maybe the first thing that people often do. And I
Mhm.
think it is just 'cause it's a little bit easier. Like when you cut stuff out, even if you're like super motivated, it's tough to say, okay, I'm not going to have my favorite items or I'm not going to have what I normally eat. I'm going to change everything. And so the number two is over reliance on cardio. And I'm going to make this comment because everyone's going to say, hey, you guys don't like cardio. What's wrong with you? Or anything like that. We're not saying cardio is bad, right? Cardio can be very good for you in a lot of different ways. But if the go to strategy is all we're going to do is just push ourselves harder and harder and harder, then, and you know what? I'm just going to do more cardio and more cardio and more cardio. It feels productive at first, right? Especially if it's like your first time you get out there and you feel like, oh man, I've had a great workout, right? You sweat, you do burn calories, especially initially, right? And you see the scale move. You're like, this is it, all right? And then your body starts adapting to that. And then you're like, I need to run a little bit more next week, and I need to run a little more next week. Before you, it's unsustainable, all right? So um, they want to look lean, they want to feel toned, like the whole word toned. They want to feel confident in their clothes, and that is going to come from building muscle. We're going to talk about that later. Cardio is great, but it doesn't build muscle, and eventually your body's going to adapt, and you're not going to lose weight from cardio. All it does is going to kind of break down your body more and more, and then you're going to get frustrated.
Yeah, and for people that are short on time, cardio is usually the least efficient use of that time because you can spend hours running or cycling, but if you're not strength training, again, your metabolism doesn't change. You're just stuck doing more and more cardio to maintain, and that's why people burn out. You want workouts that buy you freedom and not ones that keep you chained to a treadmill. And I also like the point that you mentioned too about this like sweating, burning calories. I feel like a lot of people get into that mentality and just like trying to beat themselves into the ground, whether that's doing cardio or just some other hit workout or whatnot. It's like, is that actually effective? Is it actually getting the outcome that you want, which is a faster metabolism, which is building muscle mass? And usually just running around doing a bunch of random shit, yeah, like you sweat a lot, you feel tired, but is it actually getting you to the outcome you want? So that's something to check.
And then the side note, we've talked about this before, and I'm mentioning this again just because I think it's so important. If you're approaching this as I'm going to beat myself up, I'm going to punish myself because I'm not happy where I am, you're going to break down probably more mentally than anything before you do physically, right? And so this needs to come from a place, okay, I'm not exactly happy with some of the decisions I've made. I'm not loving the direction, the weight is going. So I love myself. I know what's better. If I improve my health, it's better for me. It's better for the people around me. So I'm going to do things that are better for myself. That's going to be a much more positive approach, and you're much more likely to stick with it.
Yeah, so worst way number three. This one's kind of a sneaky one, which is ignoring recovery and stress. This is one I had to learn the hard way myself because you can be training hard, you can be eating right, you can be checking every single box, but if you're not sleeping and if you're stressed out of your mind chronically, nothing's going to work. When your cortisol is high, you have more cravings, progress stalls, and most people respond by trying to push harder when really the answer is actually pulling back, which can be very challenging. I know I've been experiencing, I've talked about this a lot. It's like I go through phases. One, I saw the best results in my physique and getting leaner every single week, building muscle every single week at the same time when I was prioritizing sleep and recovery over everything else and managing my stress. And I feel like now it's kind of bounced back into the opposite where sleep has taken more of a hit. Like I'm still working on getting that dialed in, and same with stress. And now my body is also in that place where it's just like stuck and not responding and just kind of chronically in pain and just not recovering, super fatigued just from all the activity I'm doing. And then plus not prioritizing those things like sleep and stress. So like it really does, like you can be doing all the right things. I am absolutely fucking dialed on every little thing and my body's not responding purely just because of those factors. So do not take this lightly. Like this is very important, and a lot of people get stuck, especially because a lot of people that we talk to are high performers. Like they have so much going on at work, at family, and so they're all over the place. And so in this case, pulling back, really focusing on these areas and healing and trying to work on managing stress a little bit better. We don't like a lot of stuff you can't control, but controlling the pieces that you can is going to make a big difference, and your body's going to feel a lot more at ease, a lot safer to go and drop fat.
Yeah, I think initially a lot of people think the avatar of the person that like works really hard, like late into the night, they're doing this because they just want to make a lot of money, right? Like they're power hungry or they're money hungry or something like that. And I think most people are not like that. I think the people that are working really hard throughout the night or maybe are not sleeping as well, there's a lot of different reasons, right? Maybe they're working really hard. They just love their job and they want to put everything into it, and they absolutely need to, and or they have kids that stay up late, or they have to help their kids with homework, or there's just a lot of things that could be going on that they're staying up later for and not getting the sleep that like they need to. But we have to prioritize that. Like that is when your body just recovers. It cleans everything up. It cleans everything else up. It builds muscle. It kind of sets yourself up for the next day. And if you're always trying to play catch up, your body's not being able to require. It just starts breaking down, and you'll start feeling that physically, but you'll definitely start feeling that mentally. And then the stress side of things, I know everyone knows. Oh yeah, having a lot of stress is not good for you, but a lot of times we don't do anything about it. Like we don't cope with it. And I think sometimes we think, okay, if I just can get rid of the stress, I'll feel better. But there's so much stress in life, even if it's good stress. When you go work out, that's stress on your body. So it's not necessarily we want to get rid of all the stress. Yes, it would be ideal to get rid of some of the stressors in life, but it's having to be able to cope with it and be able to handle that stress and be able to incorporate strategies that deal with that stress so it doesn't affect you as much. Because otherwise, hormonally, you're going to be a wreck, and it's definitely going to affect all your progress.
Yeah, there's this story that always stands out to me from one of my clients, and she was pretty overweight and had struggled with getting the weight off for years and years. And she was like super dialed. She was so consistent doing everything that we gave her. But she had a very, very stressful job. And eventually she quit her job because of how stressful it was. And guess what? After years of all like not like putting in all this work, not seeing any results, as soon as she quit her job, weight started to drop. Like purely just based on that and stress, which is crazy. So I feel like it's just such a good example of how important that is.
It is really crazy, and it's super frustrating probably for her because she was probably doing a lot of things right. And all you hear about, most of what you hear about is, I need to make sure I don't eat, more than I burn, and I need to work out. And if you got those things going on, you're like, well, what else am I supposed to do? I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But like you said, it's crazy. It's definitely crazy. But I'm glad she was able to figure that out.
Yeah, and granted, a lot of times you aren't just able to go and quit your job if that's causing a lot of stress.
Right.
So it's like I'm not saying that's what you need to do, but like you said, like working on other tools to help manage it, control the pieces that you can control, even if you can't get your job or you can't completely cut out people of your life that are causing stress. It's like finding tools to manage that, and setting boundaries where you can, and just working on little things, and that will still make a big difference.
Yeah, I don't know where I heard it. There's a quote somewhere that person was saying, "Control the controllables."
Hmm. Yep.
And so you're right. There's just so much out there that you can't control, and there's going to be stressors. So deal with and cope with what you can.
I swear I say that to clients every single day, and myself every single day too. It's just like, what can we control? Let's go all in on that, and the rest is just noise. Disregard it.
All right. So number 4 is quick fixes and challenges. And I get it. We want to be like, I want to lose weight now. I want to lose it as fast as possible. And I'm frustrated. And so when someone hears, hey, you know what? I lost weight super fast. I lost a lot of weight super fast. Let's do this. Let's do that. I get it, right? You'll hear things like a 30-day challenge, a detox, fat burner pills, even like 75 hard. They can work short term, but they usually rarely translate in everyday life, and they rarely are able to be sustainable. And so the minute the challenge ends, or the minute your body adapts to all the other stuff, or you just get tired of doing it, or life causes you to go somewhere other direction, you're going to gain all the way back, right? And one of the most frustrating things I think for me that I see is someone on Facebook or someone on social media or an influencer will promote something. Oh, hey guys, I've lost 10 pounds. Everyone's like, oh, you look amazing. What are you doing? And I get that's a great question to ask. And they're like, oh, well, I'm taking this pill or I'm following this program where you take the all only shakes all day or something that's not sustainable, something that no one's ever going to do the rest of their life. And they jump on it and they spend all this money. And a lot of times they do, they lose 5 or 10 pounds right away. And they're like, hey, you guys, look at me. I'm doing this program. And a couple months later, they've gained all the way back. And it's frustrating and it's kind of sad because I know they've worked so hard and they've wanted to lose that weight. They follow the wrong direction.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get caught up in as they see something that worked for the friend or someone that worked for something that worked for someone online, and then they're like, okay, what are they gonna do? I'm gonna follow that. But again, it comes down to like we need the plan for you. Your lifestyle, your experience, your body is different than what you see online, especially what you see online with like influencers and everyone else. So it's like you can't just take whatever they're doing and think it's gonna work for you. So it's finding that right plan for you. I think even that too creates this identity loop of where you only feel on track when you're doing a program. But your life isn't a program. It's messy. Things are going to get in the way. It's busy. It's unpredictable. And if your plan only works when everything is perfect, it's not really a plan. I also I think a good red flag to look out for when if you're looking for a coach too is when coaches like, oh, like we'll lose 20 pounds in the next 30, 60 days or whatever it is like they're promising some quick outcome. Like I'll tell people it's like, yes, we'll get you to your weight loss goal, but we're going to make sure that you never have to lose weight ever again. And like this actually sticks. So I don't care how long it takes because it's going to be the last one time you ever have to go through a diet or any sort of program because it's going to be truly sustainable. So always just something to keep in mind if like, yeah, it's great to drop 20 pounds in 30 days or whatever, but that's usually when you end the program or it's unsustainable and then the weight's going to come right back up.
And it's great to have those goals, but we're going to work on building those anchor habits first. And that will lead to the weight loss, right? And that kind of goes to your next tip as well.
Yeah, so number 5 and last one for the worst ways is just obsessing over the scale. This one's sneaky because the scale moves fast at first and people think it's the ultimate measure of progress, but it really doesn't tell the whole story because you can lose weight and be less healthy. You can weigh the same and look completely different. So if the scale is your only marker, you end up making decisions that actually backfire.
And I think it's something that's good to look at. It's good to have that data. It's fun, especially if you're losing weight. It's nice to be able to look at that and say, oh, I've lost 5 pounds, I've lost 10 pounds. But your health journey is way more than that, right? And so we want to look at your strength. How strong are you getting? We want to look at your energy. How much better do you feel every day? We want to look at how are your clothes fitting. We want to look at photos and say, okay, you know what? I haven't lost much weight. And then we see like a progress photo, like, yeah, but look at how much better you're looking right there and how much happier you're looking. And so again, the scale is data, but it's definitely not nearly the whole picture. And so there's a lot of other metrics we want to look at to show that, hey, I'm actually improving and I'm improving on my health journey.
Yeah, I think of one of my clients in particular who was already fairly dialed when he came to us, but he was really stuck on that number on the scale and had gone through a lot of the on off. So it's like just didn't have the best relationship with that and food in general. And so he would constantly he was trusting the process. He was so consistent. He's been an absolute rock star. But very frequently he'd be like, the weight's not dropping. He kind of worried, just bringing that up. And every single time we're like, no, you're doing great. You're doing the right things. And then he finally got a DEXA scan and it showed how much his body fat had dropped, how much his muscle mass went up. And I'm like, there you go. And then he's like, oh, all right, you're right. And so never again has he like worried about the number on the scale. He knows now. And I feel like sometimes you got to go through that and like actually see the difference and like the change in your body composition and just how you look and feel overall to like truly see that the scale isn't the end all be all. Like you said, of course, it's an important metric to look at, but yeah, there's a lot of other things that can play a role. And so don't tie all of your worth and all of your progress just to that number.
That's definitely okay. So if you're listening to this, those are all the things you're not doing, all right? Nothing negativity. Let's talk about the positive things. What are you going to do? These are the best ways. So foundational, right? You're building a house. What do we want to build it on, right? A strong foundation, strength training, right? It's the cornerstone. So building muscle not only changes the way your body looks, it also makes fat loss a lot easier to maintain, and you have to work a lot less harder to do that, right? So muscle is like your insurance policy for your metabolism. It keeps it going, and that is where we want to build everything on top of.
Yeah, and kind of like I was saying too, from a time standpoint, this is huge. 3 solid lifts a week will do more for you long term as far as fat loss than endless cardio, like we were talking about before. You're getting stronger, you're reshaping your body, you're raising the ceiling of how much food your body can actually handle.
And the more you do it, the less you have to do in the long run, right? So if you're, especially if you're younger right now and you're listening to this, now is the great time. Any time is obviously a great time to start a weightlifting strength training program. But when you're younger, if you can train for a long time, the older you get, the less you have to do, and you'll be able to maintain that muscle as well as bring it back. So sometimes I'll have clients that have been working out for a long time. They take a couple weeks off or vacation or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I'm kind of nervous to go back to the gym. I'm going to have some. I'm just not going to be as strong, or I don't feel strong." And they get back in there, and within a couple weeks, like they're right back where they were. And it's like, oh my gosh. I was like, well, it's because you established this. Your body knows it, and so it's building the muscle right back very quickly.
Yeah. And it makes fat loss. Okay, obviously there's a million benefits to lifting. Like we're not gonna even tell that. We're kind of more just talking fat loss, but like there's a lot of other things. We could talk about that in a whole episode. But like it just makes it so much enjoyable when you get to eat a lot more food because your metabolism is higher, because you need that fuel to build muscles. Like you get to eat a lot more, you can still be losing fat, and it's obviously going to make it a lot more enjoyable and sustainable than cutting things down and eating 1,500 calories or whatever and barely dropping weight. So number 2 here is prioritizing protein and nutrient quality. So again, not about cutting out food. It's we want to focus more on what you're adding. When you anchor your meals with protein and whole foods, you're naturally going to feel fuller. Your cravings are going to go down. Your energy is going to stay consistent. So it's not restrictive. It's more supportive, and it makes the process feel a lot easier too.
Yeah, most of the time when we talk to clients that come to us, the first thing we do is not say no carbs or take away this or anything like that. It's, hey, let's start adding some more protein to your meals.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very protective. It keeps our muscle going, right? While we're losing fat. And we need protein to build that muscle. And it's going to change that body composition. And a lot of times the scale will go up a little bit, right? Or build a muscle, but we need that protein to be able to do that. A lot of people will say, hey, I lost 20 pounds, but I don't look the way I thought I would, right? And sometimes there's a phrase out there like skinny fat, right? Have you heard that before? And that's where, yeah, you lost some weight, but you don't really look healthy. And a lot of times those people end up getting that weight back again. And so protein kind of fixes that. It makes you look really healthy, very strong, and you feel very healthy and very strong.
Yeah, because when you get into that skinny fat range, it's like when you just focus on losing weight as opposed to losing fat and building muscle. It's like, yeah, you lose the weight, but you're just a smaller version of how you looked before, which likely people like they don't like how they look. So it's like it's just a smaller version of that. So like that's why we need that muscle to have that more lean, toned, sculpted physique. And then protein is the building block of that. Like you cannot build muscle if you are not getting protein. So that's why it's so important.
Right. Eat a lot more of it. Eat it first. Make sure you get it in. And if that's the only thing you do for a while, you'll start feeling a lot better. All right. So the next one is, we titled this Restore Before You Cut, right? And this one, I think sometimes we're a little surprised by it, or they're not quite sure this is going to work, right? So especially if you've been dieting forever, or you've gone through a lot of different types of programs like that, and eating less and less, it doesn't work, right? It's not a very good fat loss strategy. And so you get to actually increase food. We get our metabolism back up. We get our training dialed in, and then we'll create a deficit, right? So we want to get to a place where we're feeling really good, and then we can start bringing down calories a little bit. Yeah, like I said, I think a lot of people just think, okay, I just need to start cutting back as much as possible. And that was kind of one of our, restrict everything. But we really want to build a nice, strong, healthy body. And then if we're at a place where we're feeling really good and we want to lean up some more, then we can start put ourselves in a deficit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need to go through this rebuild phase. And it feels counterintuitive, especially when a lot of people come to us like, I want to lose weight. And we're like, all right, first we're going to rebuild. And they're like, what the hell? But like, it's important to rebuild your body, your metabolism, your relationship with yourself, your food, all the things. And once people experience it, it clicks. That's why I have so many clients now who just graduated from this rebuild phase saying, okay, not only have they lost weight and fat in this rebuild phase naturally, but like it's so easy. It feels so automatic. They're like, oh, is this it? Like, I don't need to add more, do anything else, because it just feels so easy. Because you feel better, you train harder, you recover, and then the fat loss finally works because your body isn't stuck in that survival mode. And that's literally why that's the first phase of our program. We call it Groundbreaker. We need it to go through that rebuild phase for a reason. And I think that's why so many other programs, so many other people fail on their weight loss journeys, because they neglect this rebuild phase and building the right foundation to make fat loss easy, sustainable, and last for the rest of their life.
And if we're looking at what are the steps to get to our goal and not necessarily focusing on our goal, and we're starting with that foundation of strength training, and our goal is, hey, I want to just get stronger. I'm not worried about how many pounds I'm going to lose right now. I want to get stronger. That's going to put you in a much better place and a much better direction.
Mm-hmm. So number 4 is daily movement over calorie burn. This one's simple but overlooked. So instead of punishing yourself with brutal workouts, kind of like we were talking about, just trying to sweat and beat your body into the ground, just simply move more. Get more walks in, get more steps in, take breaks from sitting at your desk and just move. We call this NEAT activity, NEAT, and it adds up a lot more than most people realize. And it doesn't drain you, it's not super fatiguing. So it's just what you're doing day to day, even just walking to the grocery store, walking to your car, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, things like that. Just get more daily activity in.
Yeah, walking. We love walking, right? It's going to lower stress, it helps digestion, clears your mind, especially after you eat. I think it's a fantastic time. And, everyone thinks that walking is not going, it's like, it's too easy, right? It's like walking's not going to help out much, right? I need to like beat myself up, but it's definitely one of the most powerful fat loss tools out there if we do it right. And what I mean by it is you're thinking about moving all the time. And you talked about going to the grocery store, like on days where like I mow the lawn and I go to the grocery store, I'm like, man, look at my steps. Like I rack up the steps, right? And it's just being active, even though it's nothing, like I'm not trying to do anything. I get so many steps in that way. And I had a client actually the other day that was like, I decided today to go ahead and instead of sending an email to some of the people that I needed to talk to, I just got up and I walked to them and I talked to them in person. And then he showed me how many steps he was getting. It was like triple the amount of steps he normally has in the morning. And I was like, plus you get that social interaction, right? And it was his idea. I thought it was a fantastic idea. And so just little things like that are very powerful.
I love that one because I feel like so many people do that. Just send a message on Team or just send an email. It's like get up, walk to there. We even talk about doing quick 5-minute walks, like on the hour or just after lunch or something. It's like that's a great way to do it. Walk to someone else's office, have that socialization. Also, get whatever work done you need to. So I think that's an awesome idea.
Yeah, that was a fantastic idea. All right. And so at the end of the day, the best weight loss strategy is really going to be the one that you personally can see yourself doing 5 years from now, 10 years from now. It's got to be something that is going to fit your lifestyle. And that means that you got to be able to adapt to your lifestyle. You got to be flexible, right? And you want to be able to go out to dinner. You want to be able to travel. You want to be able to handle busy weeks at work or busy weeks at home, right? And still be able to stay consistent.
Yeah, when that clicks, fitness stops being a program where you're on or off, and it just becomes who you are, kind of building that identity like we always talk about. And that's when the weight loss sticks, when you stop starting over and have something that's truly sustainable, that actually fits your life, that's enjoyable. Because we always tell people, like, we want you to go out, have that date night. We want to go, have a nice steak or enjoy the food that you like. Go on that trip. Even if it's a work one, it's like just be able to be present and enjoy without stressing about it, without taking away or being like, oh, I can't have that. It's too restrictive or it's going to mess up my diet or completely falling off. So it's like that type of stuff is meant to fit in. And that's why, like, this is the last point is like we need to have habits that fit are realistic in our life.
So that's the difference. The ways that you're going to always play catch up and not going to be able to sustain long term are built on extremes. They're built on quick fixes. They're built on chasing the wrong markers. It's going to put you on the wrong path. The best ways are going to be built on strength, fueling your body, restoring your body, moving, and habits that are actually going to fit you and your lifestyle.
Yeah, so don't waste any more energy on the strategies that are keeping you stuck. Put that effort into the foundations that work every single time. And yeah, it's not as fun, it's not as sexy, but it works. And so if you've been in that cycle of trying everything and nothing is sticking, this is your sign to start shifting the approach. Stop looking for the fastest ways to lose it and start looking for the ways that are going to last. And that's really what makes the difference. And if you want some help with structure, accountability, and plan that actually makes this stuff stick long term, that's exactly what we do inside our coaching and in our community on Skool. Ironically, we just ran a challenge in there, but the way I structure that too is like we're focused on sustainability. It's not like any other challenge that you see out there where it's like, oh, we're going balls to the wall, we're losing a bunch of weight. It's like, no, I'm actually trying to set you up for the week and beyond and the rest of your life. So we do all kinds of stuff in there. I'll link that in the show notes. And appreciate you guys for tuning in. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And we will catch you guys next week.